misled the American people over and over and over again while under federal investigation.
A lot of experience dealing with men who get off the reservation and the way they behave and how they speak.
And I would caution any of us in this country to talk about anybody being off the reservation. Let us not forget that the colonists of this country stole the land from our Native American brothers and sisters.
The kinds of kids that are called super predators, no conscience, no empathy.
To call your own citizens super predators is pretty harsh. It's just like the term thug or hoodlum.
It's from Mahatma Gandhi. He ran a gas station down in St. Louis for a couple of years.
Hillary Clinton was speaking and she threw in a joke about Gandhi and the stereotype of Indians working in gas stations. Well, she was under a lot of fire for her poor taste, so Senator Clinton had to apologize.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
Not legal. She's from Europe.
She's legal.
How she? She was born in Europe.
Okay,
why would her husband be running for president?
But she has U.S. citizenship, so that's just because she was born in another country does not mean she has a legal citizenship.
That's
fine. You don't have
real
to.
land. If he's
and I can say the same thing about you, but I would
She was born in Europe. That makes her illegal. This guy has a very small grasp of reality, and I would say he's the one who is a racist. He's wearing a Black Lives Matter T-shirt. And obviously rejecting all lives matter. So there's the video right now. It's got over 1 million views on our YouTube channel. Probably, I think on our Facebook post, other people grabbed it on Facebook, and it's got millions of views on Facebook. Just a young man. His name is Quatarius Manuel.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good. So do you see how it works? Just by standing up and just standing there and letting the opposition talk themselves into a hole, you could really make these people look like fools.
Yeah, that's right.
And so had you been sparring with this guy verbally before, or did this just all happen spontaneously?
So I woke up, obviously, the night before I learned out that Trump was coming to Atlanta. So I decided I wanted to come to go see Trump because he's my candidate, as you can see. And so I went in line with my friend Brett and I and Callie and Mallory. So we were sitting there, and then the guy came to us. He approached us. And he just started attacking us verbally. And then we tried our best to inform him on issues. And he obviously did not know. He called the KKK the KK. He didn't know what legal immigration was. It was just insane. So, yeah.
I think the funniest thing was that he wants to ship black people back to Africa. That, to me, was one of the funniest statements I've ever heard from a grown man. And he's not calling shipping anybody back. He's just said people who've broken the law, illegal immigrants. He's saying, hey, we have to have a system. We have to ship these people back. He goes, we may even allow them to come back in, but we have to kind of clean the slate before we can deal with what's going on in this country. And right now, it's crazy. The border's wide open, the southern border. They're saying there's more illegals pouring over the border now this year already than all of last year. And last year was a record year.
Yeah. Like I said, these liberals, they just want free stuff. And Trump is not buying it. He's not buying it. We're not going to continue to let our country we're not going to continue to let our country go to the ground when Trump is our president, because he's going to stop illegal immigration. And people don't want to hear that, because they know when he gets in office, America going to be great again. And the liberal media does not want America to be great based off conservative values. They want America to be great based off liberal values, and that's just it.
I would agree, and I'll lump the Republicans in there with the Democrats who like illegal immigration, because the Democrats like it because it creates a big voting base, and the Republicans like it is because it creates a form of cheap labor that they can exploit. And I say shame on both these groups, shame on exploiting people, because in addition to just bringing people in as cheap labor, how many people are dying just to make that journey because they think there's a glimmer of hope that they can get in? How much of the drug trade is fueled by this? The coyote trade. I mean, we're keeping really bad people in power and in money, well-financed, just by allowing this system to continue.
Exactly, the rate. I mean, look at all these illegal Mexicans. They come in here, and I was I don't know if you know anything about Georgia, but I was in Dunwoody, and then I was out there playing soccer with my friend, and then we noticed some Hispanics come up to us. I'm just profiling, you know, based off what information I was given using my context clues, something I was taught to do in 3rd grade. But so I used them. I asked them, and they first of all, they didn't know any English. And I was like, well, how old are you? He's like, I'm 15. It's like, okay, what school do you go to? You know, I'm 16. I want to know what school you go to. So we're not going to school yet. We're just working. I was like, so how did you get here? He's like, I got here 2 weeks ago. It's like, how? He was like, couldn't give me answers because he didn't learn English. So I just assumed he was illegal. I was like, where are you from? He was like, my cousin's from Mexico. I'm from Guatemala. And I said, well, why are you here? He was like, you know, we come here because it's a better opportunity. I said, well, are you legal? Do you have ID, a citizenship or anything? He was like, no. And then that's when some more started coming towards me. And, you know, basically, I think it was one guy, you know, a little English. And he was like, why are you confronting my friend? I was like, because he's illegal. And I don't agree with illegal immigration. So long story short, we ended up reporting it, got to the police offices, and the police got the guy in custody. I don't know anything about him now, but yeah, I mean, just shows you how much they come over. They're making their way to Georgia now. So
there was a report last week of an 18-wheeler driver who just stopped in the middle of at a rest stop, and it was on his way, I think, to some other city. He was coming from El Paso. He stopped in the middle, let out a whole truckload of illegals, and they were just wandering around the truck stop. They didn't even know where they were. I mean, this is not right on so many levels. So people who sit there and say illegal immigration is good, it's not doing anything. It's not helping any side of the equation. And it's also driving down our wages, if people want to look at it that way. But Quay, what got you into Trump in the first place? What really attracted you to him?
So originally I've been always Republican. I grew up in a conservative home, obviously in Georgia, suburbs of Georgia. I did not like Trump at first. I mounted to dislike him. He was my second option. My number one option was Ted Cruz, because I thought Ted Cruz has conservative principles that I was for, as far as like free market, stuff like that. That's true conservative on the economic side. You know what I mean? So, and I thought he had this great Christian belief, because I am an evangelical Christian. I love Christianity. That's just my religion. And I thought Ted Cruz was the closest guy to Reagan. That's what I thought. And then I thought Ted Cruz spoke to the people. I thought he was more than just a politician, because he was the outsider. I mean, like, I don't know if you knew, but everybody knew that Ted Cruz was not liked in Washington because they didn't like his ideals. And so I thought he was the guy that I needed to take on Washington with his conservative values. And then once he dropped out, when he lost Indiana primary, I was devastated. You know, I was like, oh my God. And then also what made me influence my decision, if you saw the latest polls that CNN and Fox were coming out, Ted Cruz was beating Hillary by over like 11 points. And Donald Trump was losing to Hillary by like 16. So I was like, well, where's Donald Trump path to winning the presidency? So I thought about that too when I was picking my candidate at first. And anyway, so I had Ted Cruz, and he dropped out, was a little lost. So I took a 2-week break from politics. And then I started researching into Donald Trump. And I started researching into why the liberal media portrays Donald Trump this way when he's really not. I mean, he has some of the biggest Black supporters. You have Herman Cain. I mean, you can just go on and on, but that's just one big guy. And I looked into it, I was like, he's not this person. So why the media doing that? And I thought Donald Trump had a chip on his shoulder. And I thought, I'm going to support this guy because, for one, he's a GOP nominee, so I'm going to support the nominee. I'm not like, I have so much respect for the Bush family, but I don't understand why they would not support the GOP nominee when it goes against Hillary. And I'm that guy that's like anyone but Hillary. And then I fell in love with his policies on like immigration, education, getting rid of Common Core, etc. So.
Yeah, and he's got a pretty favorable economic plan. A lot of people have looked at it and said, this plan is going to put money back in everybody's pocket, his tax program. He's also come out and said he wants to save Social Security and Medicare, which I think is an issue on both sides. People want to see how it can be saved.
Obamacare is the worst thing that could ever happen to America, and he is going to repeal that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's amazing the way the system has all lined up on both sides, and they're afraid of Trump. They don't want to see him win, and it makes you wonder, why is that? What is so scary about a guy? Oh, and they put out arguments like, oh, he's not a politician. He hasn't been in politics. We've had enough of politicians, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and like that's a good point, because right here in the state of Georgia, we had a politician and Governor Nathan Deal, and every time you think we have a great politician, they always eventually sell out. Look at Marco Rubio. He sold out to Florida. He sold himself out to Washington for Florida. I mean, look at Governor Deal. He sold the state of Georgia out for some money from. I mean, all these politicians, John McCain, he's been selling Arizona out for forever. I mean, all these politicians, all they do is sell out, and they just get their money, and they don't even care about the people. I want somebody who I'm proud to say I'm president. And I love George W. Bush, but there is nobody I think I've ever been proud of the most besides Ronald Reagan ever since he's been in office. I wasn't even born at that time, but I know my parents, they love him. And I looked at his policies. He tore down that wall. He's done so much great things to America, and they took the heat, and he took the heat for it. And I just think it's unfair that if you have like you made a good point, you said I'm done with politicians. I think Trump is finally that outsider that we need, because Ronald Reagan was an outsider. I mean, everybody knows that, you know. So
well, and it was bound to happen where people would get sick and tired of the same old system of just the same garbage coming down, the same talking points. The Republicans have their talking points, the Democrats have theirs. We would have never had, anything except Trump's come in and really kicked the system to the curb, especially with his political correctness.
I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. Take advantage of this at InfoWarsLife.com.
Call for white people like myself to put ourselves in the shoes of those African-American families who fear every time their children go somewhere, who have to have the talk about, how to really protect themselves when they're the ones who should be expecting protection from encounters with the police.